How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to another SkillCapped video. In this one, we've got the inside scoop on the 3 best carry champions for every role in 11.19. These are the picks our analysts believe to be at the top of their class in their respective roles for the current meta. But before we get into it, be sure to check out SkillCapped if you want to truly get better at League of Legends. We're the only service that offers a money-back guarantee if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service. We do this because our service really does work, and if it doesn't work for you, you shouldn't pay. Learn more at the end of this video or click the link in the description below. So with that said, let's get started. An extremely sound and reliable top laner that you should highly consider adding to your champion pool for 11.19 is Urgot. Q buff from 11.18 has given him that extra push back up the tier list. We really like Urgot for the current meta because he does so well against champs like Riven, Irelia, Jax, and Camille, who are played at very high rates. The only top laner picked at a high rate right now who's beating Urgot is Mordekaiser, so banning him out is a solid option. By starting E at level 1, you have the ability to trade very aggressively right from the get-go. Especially in lower elos, players won't expect how strong you are with this strategy, which can lead to you winning lane immediately. Titanic Hydra has taken over as Urgot's best rush item as a result of Stridebreaker nerfed so many times and falling out of meta. Grab Black Cleaver second to give yourself lots of added help, which synergizes insanely well with the Titanic passive. Third item will be a Frostfire Gauntlet to throw in some more tankiness. Rune Page is press the attack with Triumph, Tenacity, and Last Stand. Take Resolve for secondaries with Bone Plating and Overgrowth. Our second top lane pick is another consistent champ who stomps on meta picks. Tahm Kench may not be the most flashy champion there is, but he gets the job done and has way more solo carry potential now due to the added mobility on W. Laning phase is absolutely disgusting, as very few top laners can go toe-to-toe with the tongue. The low cooldown harass from Q and the fact it now heals allows for constant pressure and ability to punish the enemy as they walk up for CS. W makes setting up gank plays so simple, and if your jungler has any kind of follow-up crowd control, it's free kills all day. Matchups you want to avoid include Mordekaiser and Shen, so using your ban on one of them is a good idea. A lot of high elo Tahm players rush Anathema's chains, which makes your 1v1 insanely good very early on. Item is only 2,500 gold, so you can pick it up way before the enemy top will have their first core item completed. You go into Frostfire second, and then Thornmail or Spirit Visage third. Rune Page's Grasp of the Undying with Shield Bash, Second Wind, and Unflinching. Run Precision for secondary with Triumph and Alacrity. Although it may be getting a bit repetitive, we just can't remove Sett from our top 3 due to how strong and reliable he has been over the past few months. If you're a Sett main, then you've had it really well as he stayed on top of the meta without any nerf yet. Trading power right off the jump is amazing with Sett, as you can start E and punish melee champs as they go in for last hits. Once you scale towards level 6 and complete Gore Drinker, your ability to outplay 1v2 situations and be a nuisance in the side lane is amazing. Sett fares pretty well against most meta top laners, but one champ giving some issues right now is Riven, so banning her out is worthwhile. After rushing a Gore Drinker, you'll pick up Sterix second and Titanic Hydra third. An absolute monster build path, which is a key reason to why Sett is so strong. For runes, pick up Conqueror with Triumph, Alacrity, and Last Stand. Secondaries are Second Wind and Revitalize. Champions who can abuse Ghostblade are extremely strong right now, and KhaZix is one of them. In Masters and above, Ghostblade is the most purchased rush item for KhaZix, while in the lower elos, it's way down at number 4. Youmuu's is such a potent first purchase as it enables you to snowball even harder. Solo queue is all about acquiring an early advantage and continuing to pressure that lead, which makes Ghostblade absolutely perfect. Not only do you gain the 20% movement speed from passive, but you get 40 out of combat move speed to motor around the map and pick off your targets. The ability haste addition on Ghostblade means you'll be able to hit a total of 55 haste once you've got your mythic and lucidity boots. This is amazing for KhaZix as it puts his Q on an even shorter cooldown for ludicrous skirmish potential. Full build is Ghostblade into Prowlers or Duskblade second and Cyrilda's Grudge third. Dark Harvest or Electro are viable rune options. It just depends on whether you prefer the one shot from Electro or more extended fight power from Harvest. If you're a jungler in the lower elos right now and all you care about is climbing, then Amumu should be in your champion pool, no questions asked. It's no secret anymore as to how impactful the Q buff was, as it opens up so many more opportunities for Amumu. Change makes everything about Amumu stronger, from early gank threat to teamfight potency and his catch potential. Early game skirmish is the only thing that is lacking from the champion, so banning out someone like Jarvan or Xin Zhao who want to fight early on is a good idea. Once you reach level 6 onwards, ganks are insane. Teamfight is some of the best for any jungler, and you can deal mass amounts of damage while building full tank. Speaking of the build, you'll rush a Sunfire Aegis into Demonic Embrace 2nd and Thornmail or Abyssal Mask 3rd. If you really just want to go all out tank, then you can replace Demonic, but we would recommend it for most games as it synergizes great with Amumu and provides some extra solo carry power. Conqueror is Amumu's best keystone with Triumph, Tenacity, and Last Stand. Opt for Cheap Shot and Ravenous Hunter for secondaries. If scaling isn't your cup of tea and you want to make an impact as early as possible, then stop messing around and just spam Jarvan. To say the least, Jarvan has become a godlike jungle pick ever since Riot issued 2 massive direct buffs a few patches back. In order to take full advantage of the champion's strength, look to be active early on. In Champion Select, you should be weighing out your options and have a game plan as to how you're going to execute on your early game power. If bot lane is playing something like Nautilus or Leona, then starting red buff and level 2 ganking is a dominant strategy. Focus whichever lane will give you the best follow-up on your engage and take advantage of that to snowball an early lead. As you reach the mid game, it's all about controlling vision and finding picks from Fog of War with your miraculous engage range. This is what makes Jarvan so impactful and a great hard carry, as you can fly in from 2 screens away and pick off the enemy AD carry when they're farming alone. Core build is Gore Drinker into Sterix and Guardian Angel. Such a well-rounded setup as you are very tanky but have a great mix of damage. Runes are Conqueror with Triumph, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace. Optimal secondaries are Free Boots and Cosmic Insight. For our question of the day, what tilts you the most when playing League? There are so many different angles you can approach this one from, but for me, it would have to be when I lag or DC. Sure, trolls and AFKs suck, but when I know I could be playing better but am being held back by my internet or client bugs, that's what gets me riled up. So what's the one thing that tilts you guys the most? Let us know down in the comments below. Moving on to mid lane now, our first solo carry feature of the patch is Galio. 11.19 buff combined with the Predator change from 11.18 has given Galio a considerable boost in power. Mid lane in solo queue is all about map impact, and there are few that do it better than Galio. Q and passive allow you to shove waves quickly, while the semi-global presence from ultimate lets you join in on skirmishes well before the enemy mid can match. Predator makes your roam plays even more insane, as you can zoom right in and taunt the enemy without any counterplay. With Katarina, Sylas, and LeBlanc as 3 of the most picked mids in the meta, Galio is a reliable option to shut them down. Point-and-click taunt from W makes it nearly impossible for dive champions to play teamfights. Zed or Talon are 2 good ban options, as Galio struggles more against those AD picks. Build is an Everfrost or Rocket Belt rush, depending on preference, into Zanya's 2nd and Void Staff 3rd. For runes, Aftershock is best in melee matchups, where you'll be able to proc it consistently in lane, whereas in ranged matchups, Predator is generally more viable. Being able to run the ingenious Hunter rune from Domination is a big perk to that setup as well, since it puts Rocket Belt or Everfrost actives on very short cooldowns. It's now been a good while since Akshan's release, and his win rate continues to rise drastically as more players understand how to pilot the Rogue Sentinel. Akshan's kit is extremely powerful for solo queue, as his early game all-in potential from E is massive. Stealth from W catches the enemy off guard in so many scenarios, and the cleanup from E makes snowballing so easy. Let's not forget about the revive aspect of his kit as well, which is really just a bonus considering everything else he provides. Akshan E is way too good of a spell, as it's a long-range pick tool that deals crazy damage and also resets on kills. When you get ahead early on, you can abuse the stealth from W to sneak up on the enemy's squishies in the side lane and take them out. The matchups you want to avoid are Aurelia and Yasuo, so it's a good idea to cancel one of them out in Champion Select. There's about 3 variations to your build that you can run right now. Kraken into the Collector and Infinity Edge is full-out offensive. Against heavy AP, you can go Wits Rush into Kraken and the Collector. For maximum durability against full-out burst comps, a Shield Bow into Wits End and Rage Blade works great too. Run Press the Attack as the keystone with Presence of Mind, Bloodline, and Coup de Grace. Bone Plating and Shield Bash are the prime secondaries. And for the third solo carry mid of the patch, we rounded out with Katarina. As much as we'd like to see a little diversity in the mid lane top 3, there hasn't been a more consistent solo carry pick than Kat over the past few months. Katarina is one of the hardest snowballing mid laners you can play, as her kill potential post 3 is great and has strong map impact from teleport to clean up even more kills. Playing team fights correctly can take a little time to get used to, but when you're able to enter at the correct times, your ability to pull a complete 180 on a skirmish is insane. Kassadin or Akshan are two high-value bans when picking Katarina in 11.19. Core build of Nashor's into Riftmaker or Rocket Belt synergizes perfectly with Katarina's kit and provides her with a superb mid-game. Conqueror or Electrocute are the two best keystone options. Conqueror will provide you with stronger extended fight power, while Electro gives you that one-shot pop. Moving into our top 3 for AD carry, the first time this season is Miss Fortune. MF has been loving the 11.18 buff combined with a new lethality build that has propelled her up to the top of the tier list. We featured this build in our recent off-meta video as T1 Guma Yusi has been abusing the recently buffed Ghostblade. The majority of solo queue MF players, however, are still building crit, so look to try out lethality if you haven't already. The amount of damage you can deal with your ultimate in mid-game fights is completely nuts. With teamfight junglers like Amumu and Jarvan in meta, it makes MF even stronger. Multi-man Jarvan ult into an MF ult can single-handedly 2v5 teams. There are a few different variations to the build, but Eclipse, Ghostblade, and Cyrilda's are the core items. Order in which you purchase will depend on the game though, as Ghostblade Rush works best when snowballing, while Eclipse is optimal if against heavier burst or when behind. Rune Page is Comet with Mana Flow, Absolute Focus, and Scorch. Take free boots and biscuits for secondaries. Second on our list for ADC is Jhin, another very consistent pick who was recently buffed. Jhin may not be the flashiest of marksmen, but he can get the job done even in the more dire circumstances. With many other ADCs, it's very difficult to be useful if you've buried yourself in a pit throughout the early game. Jhin, on the other hand, provides long-range utility, which allows him to follow up on his team's pick plays better than any other ADC. Landing your root on a regular basis is sometimes all you need to do in order to be effective on the pick. Quite the sleeper build going around in Korea that we have mentioned before is Ghostblade Rush into Gale Force second. The only major downside to picking Jhin is his lack of gap closer, so that 2-item combination makes up for it entirely. Throw in a rapid-fire cannon as your third purchase and you have so much kiting potential in mid to late game fights. Dark Harvest and Fleet are viable rune choices for 11.19, so try both out and see what you prefer. More difficult lanes running Fleet with biscuits and Time Warp will enhance your ability to survive, whereas Harvest will give you some extra all-in power when paired with an aggro support. For the third solo carry AD, we have Vayne, as she's been loving the way the meta has been shifting as of recent. We've also started seeing less of Thresh and Leona after their nerfs, and a ton more of Soraka, Nami, and Sona, which is exactly what Vayne wants. Pair Vayne with the Scaling Enchanter, and it's an almost guaranteed win once you hit your 2-item spike. Vayne is also a pick who can abuse Shield Bow, and combined with a Wit's End, turns her into a pseudo-tank. You're already extremely slippery due to Q mobility and R stealth, so tacking on extra durability makes it so difficult for even an assassin to take you down. Shield Bow Rush into Wit's End or PD second and Rageblade third is the standard setup for 11.19. This combination of Shield Bow and Wits has to be nerfed in the coming patches, so look to abuse it while you can. Rune Page for Vayne is press the attack with Triumph, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace. Grab Domination secondary with Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter. For the first time, we'll be featuring a champion in 2 different roles who's top 3 in their class for both, and that champ is Amumu. We were talking about Amumu Support way back in 11.17, right after he got buffed, when his play rate was below 1%, and it's now shot up to over 6% in 11.19. The gank assist from having 2 Q charges means that you want to spam ping your jungler because it's easy kills all day long. At level 6, the all-in power from your chain CC lockdown is some of the best for any support, which gives you massive kill threat. Early invading is also something you need to take advantage of as Amumu. The long range on Q combined with the fact you now have 2 charges means you'll at least blow the enemy's flash. Core build for Amumu Support is a Locket Rush into Thornmail second and Abyssal Mask third. Anathema's Chains is a very underrated second item alternative as well. Roll with Aftershock as the keystone with Font of Life, Bone Plating, and Unflinching. Best secondaries are Cheap Shot and Ultimate Hunter. Soraka removing Grievous Wounds before applying the heal has turned into one of the biggest buffs of Season 11. The nerf this patch is definitely warranted, but we don't see it being enough to push Soraka down the tier list. Win rate spiked over 3% due to that 11.18 buff, which is pretty insane. Your teamfight is godlike now, and the champion is so simple to pick up, which makes her an even better option. The fact Leona and Thresh are falling in popularity is perfect for Soraka, since she wants to avoid those hard-engaged supports. Regardless, banning one of Blitz, Leona, or Thresh is a great idea to alleviate any early game troubles and scale into mid-game with ease. Core build is Moonstone into Redemption second and Warmog's third. So much healing and extended fight power from this setup. Guardian works very well as the keystone with Font of Life, Bone Plating, and Revitalize. For secondaries, grab Nimbus Cloak and Celerity. Final champ to round out the video is the best playmaking support for 11.19, being Blitzcrank. Gone are the days of Thresh and Leona dominating the meta, as it's time for Blitz to enjoy the spotlight. Blitz buffed while Leona and Thresh were nerfed is a double win for the Crank. With more of these enchanter supports coming into meta, if you can play a good Blitz, punishing their squishy nature early on can be super rewarding. Get that one hook in lane and then it's smooth sailing, as you can acquire brush control and completely zone the enemy ADC off waves. Map impact with mobility boots rush is another factor that adds to your solo carry potential on Blitz. Build-wise, you'll start by picking up Locket or Shurelya's into Zeke's 2nd and Knight's Vow 3rd. We've mentioned Frozen Heart as a solid situational pickup in the past, and it's finally starting to be played way more. Against heavy AD comps, grabbing Frozen Heart 3rd is a very good strategy. Take Guardian as the keystone with Font of Life, Bone Plating, and Unflinching. Secondaries are from Inspiration, Running Biscuits, and Cosmic Insight. Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about SkillCapped. So, we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week, with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent Challenger players into ELO Hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $4.99 a month if you are serious about improving. Alright, that's all we have for you guys today. Until next time, may the solo queue gods be with you, and we will catch you back soon.